When menus, buttons, and text entry fields are combined together to collect some information from the user, they are usually called a form, property sheet, or dialog box. Here are some examples.
Star and viewpoint option sheets, now commonly known as dialog boxes, allow the application to query the user. One example of an option sheet is seen when a document icon is copied to a printer icon. Here, as in property sheets, the principle of progressive disclosure is used to hide non-relevant data. The command buttons on an option sheet title bar are Start and Cancel. In addition to option sheets, Star and Viewpoint also have a lighter weight method when the user need only confirm or cancel an action. The question will appear in the attention window at the top of the screen, along with two buttons that the user selects with the mouse. Every Star object has properties which can be changed through a property sheet. The property sheet for a selected object is opened by pressing the Props key. The user specifies the desired state of the object and then commands that the object be updated. The command buttons on our property sheet title bar are Done, Apply, Cancel, and Defaults. Apply allows the user to view the effect of different settings without closing the property sheet. Cancel will close the property sheet without applying any changes. Defaults resets all the settings to default values. Done makes the required changes and closes the property sheet. Because some objects have many properties, progressive disclosure is used to hide infrequently used or currently irrelevant data. This means that some parameters may be invisible. Often, a user just wants to match properties of objects. To reduce the time it takes to reset properties by opening and closing the property sheet, there is a Same key which allows the user to copy the properties from one object to another. The object to be changed is first selected, next the Same key is pressed, then the user points to the object to be matched and presses the left mouse button.
Macintosh dialog boxes allow the computer to ask the user to be more specific about a command he just issued. Modal dialog boxes cannot be moved or resized and are dismissed by pressing a button. Modeless dialog boxes may be moved around the screen, may overlap document windows, and are dismissed by pressing the close box. Macintosh alert boxes allow the computer to draw the user's attention to significant information or situations. They cannot be moved or resized and are dismissed by pressing a button. An alert may simply supply useful information, may caution the user to be careful, or may warn of potential disaster.
Most dialogues in genera use a textually oriented interaction style. The top line of this dialog is its label. At the bottom of the dialog are two command buttons which either complete or abort from the dialog. The body of the dialog contains several fields to be filled in by the user. The first field is asking for a path name. I'll click on the field to open it up for editing. If I type the help key, Genera provides a brief, context-sensitive help message. Notice, I can also request a menu of completions and click on one of those. The last field in the dialog is a one-of choice. Clicking on an item selects it and deselects the others. Notice that when I click on the Hard Copy Whole Document field, that there are two other fields which are conditionally displayed.
There are two types of dialog boxes in Presentation Manager, modaless and modal. Modal dialog boxes are usually used for extended menu commands, those requiring more input from the user. Modal dialog boxes are in the way, that is, no other action in the application is allowed until the dialog box is removed. This kind of dialog box is used when the action taking place must be performed before it makes sense to continue with routine application activity. Opening a file is an example of an action which requires a modal dialog box. Modaless dialog boxes are used for routine and perhaps ongoing utility activity, such as a search facility in a text editor. Modaless dialog boxes may remain around for extended periods of time without interfering with other application activity. These dialog boxes usually provide the convenience of sizing and moving controls.
All objects in OpenLook have properties, which may be viewed by selecting the object with the Select mouse button and pressing the Properties key on the keyboard. Property windows are examples of pop-up windows. All OpenLook pop-up windows have pushpins. With the pushpin left out, the window will be dismissed immediately when a command button is pressed. When the pop-up is pinned, it remains displayed until explicitly dismissed by the user.
Dialog boxes are used throughout the system. For example, I can select this icon and ask to see an info sheet on it. This info sheet offers me the opportunity to change the name of the file, or perhaps to change the owner. I can change the read permission so that it's turned on. If I wish, I can push this window out of the way and examine the whole view. When I'm satisfied with my changes, I can choose Accept, and those changes will be applied to the system. Dialog boxes work in the same way. For example, if I choose this directory that I have no write permission on and ask to remove it, a dialog window comes up telling me I have no such permission. I can move this out of the way to examine the greater context before continuing. We have a toggle button selection here for either network printers, which pops up the fixtures you might wish to edit or select for network printing, or a button for serial printers, which provides the fixtures for serial printing. Here, I have radio buttons which allow me to select baud rate settings.
Motif provides combination widgets which combine lists, buttons, and text entry fields. These selection boxes allow you to select an item from a list or enter an item directly into the text field. You then instruct the application to take further action by pressing a push button or double-clicking a list item. Motif's predefined dialogues provide a symbol and label together with a selection of push buttons allowing the user to respond. Typically, dialogues provide buttons for OK, Cancel, and Help. Motif provides predefined error, warning, question, information, and working dialogues. Dialogues may optionally prevent input to the remainder of their application or to the system as a whole. Note the blocked input cursor shape. One predefined dialog, the prompt dialog, has a built-in text field for user responses. Often, a single motif window will contain multiple logical groupings of controls. These are called tab groups, and the tab key moves the cursor from one such group to the next. Shift tab moves backwards to the previous tab group. Within a tab group, the arrow keys cycle from control to control.
There are two kinds of dialog boxes in DEC Windows. One's called Modal, that locks up an application until that dialog box is completed. So in this case, you have to complete the either fill in and complete or cancel this operation until you can work with the application again. Another kind of dialog box is what's displayed here, and it's modeless. That allows you to do anything in the application at the same time as the dialog box is displayed.